Business Foundations for Mums, with me, Kate Butcher, is the podcast to listen to if you are a mum who is ready to launch your business, not sure where to start, or wanting to turn that sideline into something more serious. It will be full of practical tips, mindset advice, and inspirational and honest interviews with mums who are juggling business and motherhood, supporting mums in business to turn your dream into a reality. Hello, welcome to the podcast, Kerry Williams. Kerry is joining us today to tell us all about her business and how she juggles that with family life. So thank you for joining us today, Kerry.
Hi, Kate.
Hiya. Let's get started. So first of all, Kerry, can you just introduce us to who you are, what you do, what your business is, and a little bit about how that all fits in with family life for you?
Yes, of course. So my name is Kerry. I live and work in and around Tame and Aylesbury, so Bucks and Oxon. I currently run Tanya's School of Dance, which is also known as TSOD, which is dance classes for children aged 18 months to 18 years. I kind of do that part-time. And alongside that business, I have recently started up an events company, which originally started doing luxury children's sleepovers and parties, and has now taken me down all different avenues and lots of different new areas of that business. So yeah, basically trying to juggle two jobs, still trying to only work part-time, mum of two, yeah, kind of just sort of juggling plates all day, every day, but absolutely loving it. So yeah, happy to sort of delve in and chat about anything you want to know, really.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So yeah, two different businesses. That is a lot to juggle. I mean, it's a lot to juggle without also having family life. And as you said, wanting to be able to work part-time so that you can be there for family life as well. So how did you come about having two businesses? Because I originally know you from Tanya's School of Dance, from TSOD, because my daughter comes along to your dance classes, and my son did as well for a little while as well. So that was how we originally met. But tell us about where your second business, Sleepyheads, came from.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I was approached by one of the mums on the playground, probably about 2.5 years ago now, and she was looking to book an events company to do a sleepover for her daughter. And she just sort of in passing said to me, I think this is something you'd be really good at, Kez. You know, you should look at sort of look into the costs of setting up a company like this. And it was literally just an offhand comment. But I'm the sort of person that I'll take that and go away and think about it. And I just did a little bit of research and I thought, you know what, this could work really well. With having two fairly young children myself, you know, their friends would probably like to do this sort of thing. It's a little bit of a side hustle I can do at the weekends whilst I'm not running the dance school, you know, so I kind of just looked into it and took it from there, really. Little did I know at this stage that obviously COVID was about to strike and, you know, I wouldn't be able to run my dance school. So looking back, the timing was probably perfect for that. But then you could also say that COVID was a really bad time to start a new business because obviously we've all gone through the struggles of the restrictions and things. So basically that's essentially how it happened. And the rest is history, really, Kate. It's kind of gone from something tiny to something really big. And now it's a case of juggling the two, which is all fun and games. But yeah, that's kind of where it came from. I probably started off doing maybe one booking a month, something like that, just very small, which at the time suited me perfectly. And then once we started getting put into the lockdowns and things, I soon realised that people couldn't celebrate their children's birthdays. There was nothing available. There was nothing they could do. So where I wasn't running my dance school, I took that as an opportunity to grow and expand Sleepyheads. And here we are 2 years in and kind of booked out every weekend now for events, and it's getting bigger. And yeah, so that's really.
That's amazing. And I mean, I see on your social media quite a lot the different setups that you do for Sleepyheads. I suppose a question that always crops into my mind when I look at it is, how many different options of setups do you have? Or is it a case of if you get a request for something that you haven't got a setup for, then you can create it or buy in the parts for it?
that's kind of what I love about it. I do get to be really creative. Naturally, being a dancer, a dance teacher myself, I've always had that little flair. And I've kind of always had a bit of an eye for detail. You know, that's sort of always been me. So yeah, it kind of started off, I'd say, with like 6 basic themes you could choose from. So a girl's sleepover theme, a boy's sleepover theme. And from there, it's just grown, because I'm a bit of a shopaholic. I love to go and buy all of the products and the little bits and pieces and all of the decor. So from there, it's grown. You know, it's gone from 6 themes to probably 16 themes. And as you say, I've had requests, you know, say, for example, a child loves Paw Patrol. Can you provide a Paw Patrol setup? Can you provide a backdrop? Can you provide this? Can you provide that? So before you know it, that's kind of how I've expanded in business, because I've been asked for things I necessarily haven't bought myself, but then I go on to buy them because I realise there's a market for it. And yeah, it's just growing daily. I'm learning daily, and I don't know how far it will go, but let's see. You know, all the while I'm enjoying it and I can make it work. I think yeah, it's great. And I do love it. I genuinely do love it. As busy as my life is, it kind of works well, because I can pick and choose the hours I work. I can still take my kids to school. I can still pick them up. You know, it's getting the balance for me, really. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. And not only do you do the kids sleepover tents, but you do some adult garden theme tents as well, don't you?
So little did I know that I was going to be erecting bell tents for a living. But again, it's kind of gone hand in hand with what I was doing. And then the balloon decor, we do like light up numbers. We've started getting some sort of wedding supplies in. And again, it's just where one thing's led on to another. I've been booked for like baby showers, gender reveals, hen parties. And it's just different strings to the bow, really, Kate, but it all kind of essentially goes hand in hand, if that makes sense.
Gosh, so that must be quite a lot of different target markets who you potentially can be pitching to as well, which is quite challenging.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, with regard to Sleepyheads, I've really enjoyed like building the brand as such. I think I listened to your original podcast. I said to you at the time, I was kind of nodding along with everything you were saying, because actually that has been the really fun part for me. I love anything like that, building up your social media followers, and that's essentially where I get all of my business. Plus, I'm fortunate in the community. A lot of people know me because of the dance school and my connections with that. You know, where my children go to school, where I run my after school clubs. It's, you know, naturally people want to use someone they know and trust. And I can understand that, you know, when you've got someone coming in and decorating your home, it kind of makes life easier if you know somebody or know of someone. So yeah, I'm quite lucky in that respect. You know, I know a lot of people know who I am in and around the area. So yeah, it's been really fun. And actually I've made some really, you know, good friends through doing this as well, which is nice, because I always say my clients are all quite similar sort of people. Which is lovely, because then a lot of them become friends off the back of it, which is really lovely.
That's fantastic. And I've noticed you've been doing quite a few collaborations as well recently. So you're working with other party planners who provide different things.
Correct. Yeah. So this is kind of, again, something new for me. We're actually running an event this weekend. So basically it's people that do, this industry is really nice. Everybody really supports one another. So people that do similar things, but we're not doing the exact same thing. So for example, I'm working with a grazing company whereby they can provide the food, you know, the party food essentially for the party setups that I can provide. So, you know, it makes complete sense that we work together, because they've got their own following, their own network of people, as have I. But at the same time, we're not in competition with one another. So we're trying to sort of women empower women, work together, and actually it's been really lovely. And again, I've made some nice contacts and nice friends through that. These are people I speak to daily now that you know, 2 or 3 months ago I didn't really know they existed. So it's good, and in turn I get my own bookings off the back of that, because they recommend me and vice versa and stuff.
Fantastic. That's one of the things that I love so much about working or having contacts, I suppose, with other women. And a lot of most of my clients are mums, and people at the networking meetings that I meet, and having those contacts, it is those people who will sing your praises, recommend you, shout about you, isn't it? And that's what I find so empowering about working with other mums and working with other women in particular. That's one of the things I love about it. It's fantastic. There is that real solidarity, I suppose, isn't there?
Totally. And to be honest with you, I'd never really experienced anything like that before. Sadly, in some professions, it can be a bit competitive and you end up comparing yourself to others, and which isn't something I've necessarily ever done. I've always sort of just done my own thing. But it's really nice that other sort of artists in that industry are recognising your work and that your work is good, and then they're reposting your stuff on their pages on Instagram and Facebook, and it's really lovely. And actually, we do all work together, like in the sort of Aylesbury community. There's a few of us that quite similar things, and if one of us isn't available for an event, we'll give the other's number, and do you know what I mean? We kind of help each other. I've never really known that before, so it is lovely. It is nice to be involved, and made a nice sort of friendship circle. It's lovely.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And I've found actually through business, I've actually made a lot of my very good friends through business and through networking and through the groups that I attend, because when you're attending a group with people who, or when you're working alongside people who are in a similar position to you, I suppose, it's being with like-minded people, isn't it? And spending time with like-minded people.
They get it. Do you know what I mean? They get it. If, for example, a friend of mine that does the same thing, we've not spoken for 2 days, and I just know that she's busy doing her own thing. It's cool, she's got kids, same as me, and then we've just caught up this morning, and you just touch base, and there's none of that, well, you didn't ring me or you didn't get back to me. And it's just understanding one another, and the juggling aspects of all of our lives, really.
Absolutely. And your first business that you had, Tanya's School of Dance, so can you tell me a bit about why you decided to have your own business and where that came from?
So basically, Tanya was my mother. I inherited her business, so sadly when she passed, she basically left the dance school to me, and at the time, I'll be honest, I was 18, 19. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I'd just come out of college. I wasn't convinced I wanted to be a dance teacher. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of got thrown into it under sort of quite sad circumstances, but I kind of just turned it around and made it work for me. And I soon realised that it was nice sort of hiring village halls and running my own classes, but I'd like to work in schools. I'd like to run after school clubs. And that's kind of where all of that came from, really. But as I say, I was quite young at the time. So looking back, it was probably quite a lot to have taken on. So I only ever did that part-time. And I've also had I've done other jobs. I had a beauty and tanning salon back in my early 20s, which, it didn't really work out. But again, I put it all down to experience. So I have sort of gone down that avenue as well, but it's always kind of led me back to doing the dancing. It's always led me back to that. And then when I had a family of my own, I was very conscious that I didn't want to be out working full time. I wanted to work part-time. I wanted to be there for my kids, particularly when they were young, and it worked. Again, it worked really well because it meant that I could be at home with them when they needed me, when they were tiny, and then once they went to school, I could go back out and work again. So it's kind of been a bit stop-start in that respect. I've always ran the dance classes, but I could choose how big it went, at the different stages, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So actually, you have had your own business for all of your adult life, effectively. Which is, when you look at it like that, I have, and it's sort of, I've never really known any different, to be honest. I've never gone and done a regular job. I've never had someone in charge of me, and I think that's what I love about what I do, because it gives me so much freedom. I'm in control, and for a lot of people, I think that's quite daunting, isn't it? Because you've got to keep at it. You've got to get up every day. You've got to find the motivation. But realistically, I've never known any different, so I've kind of always had to make it work. So I think that's why my attitude's quite the way it is, really, because I've just had to do it, and in that respect, it's been good for me. And it sounds amazing how you've made it work around your family, but actually your family and the commitments that you have to your family have always been at the core of that. and you've made the work fit around that rather than the other way around.
Totally. Like I do feel like it's quite hard for us as mums. Do you know what I mean? Because you kind of get mum guilt, don't you, if you go to work full time? But at the same time, I don't want to be a full-time mum. I don't want to only, you know, be a mum and deal with my children, so to speak. I want to be me. I want them to see me working hard and, you know, being able to you know, support them. So yeah, it's the juggle of that, but that's worked really nicely for me because I've been able to pick and choose the hours I work, and being, again, like I've said, it's really just part-time, so it's great. You know, I can be around in the daytime. There are some evenings that they would have to go to after school club or, you know, go to someone's house after school, but luckily my partner, we managed to, our working hours work quite well together, so you just make it work, don't you? You just do what you can where you can.
Absolutely. And make it work is absolutely essential when it's your own business, isn't it? You have to make it work. And if it's not working in the format that it's in, you have to shift something so that it works a different way. And
there's times when, you know, I feel terrible, like school holidays or weekends, you know, sometimes the kids have to come out with me and go to clients' houses or help out. And, you know, I feel really bad for that. But at the same time, I always did that with my mum, and that's the life I knew. And she sort of built me, I guess, to be able to do that. And I think in turn, that's probably what I'm doing with my own children without realising as such. You know, they're learning the ropes and how it all works. And hopefully one day, you know, if they want to, then they can be a part of it too.
Absolutely. And what an amazing legacy that your mum has left for you there. You said, you know, going out to work with her when you were young has really stood you in good stead for taking on the business when she passed away. I'm sorry about that as well. I didn't know about that at all. Where
a lot of people don't. They often say to me, like, where does Tanya come from? Who's Tanya? So yeah, it's nice. And also, like, in the area where I live, a lot of people knew my mum. A lot of people that used to go to her dance classes now come. They have children that come to my classes, or they remember me when I was 20 teaching them, and they're now adults with children, which makes me feel really old. It's just nice, you know, like it's just a nice, again, it's a nice little industry to be in and a nice little community as well. So even if people just come to the dance school for like a small period of time, I feel like they always remember that, you know. And they'll always talk about that, so it's good.
Absolutely. Well, as you know, my daughter came to your classes for a while, and then she decided she didn't want to come for a while, and then she really missed it, and then she decided she wanted to come back again. So she's back again with you. So, and she'll never be a natural dancer, my daughter, but she loves it. She loves your classes. She thinks it's, you know, she has so much fun.
Absolutely. And for me, that was what it was all about. It was never about finding the best dancers or the most talented children. It was just making every child feel included. And never making anyone feel like they're not good enough or can't do something, you know, and essentially just build their confidence and give them something fun that they can do with their friends, you know, and for that hour kind of lose themselves in that, really. So that's what our kind of like what we're about, you know, what we want to try and promote with the dance school, kind of accept any age, any ability, for whatever period of time. Like you say, kids go through phases, you know, they want to do something 1 minute, they don't want to do it the next, you know. I'm learning that with my two, but it's nice, isn't it, if they can go back to something, as you say. It shows they liked it in the first place.
Absolutely. Yeah, indeed. Thank you. Fantastic. So you've told us all about your businesses and how they, I suppose, kind of fit in with each other and with family life. And actually, as you say, how amazing that you had just started up Sleepyheads just as the pandemic started. So you had something that you could be building and working on. And that was I suppose, a new business venture to really push, which fitted in quite nicely with the pandemic, because you could potentially, I suppose, at a lot of points of the pandemic, still take the setup to people's houses for them to have something on at home for their children to still celebrate, which is fantastic. Overall, though, what would you say the best bit of business advice is that you have been given in the time that you've been in business?
Well, that's a good one. Okay, so I don't really do this anymore, but I probably did when I was younger. So never compare yourself to anyone else, in particular if it's people that are in the same sort of industry or the same field of work. Naturally you do, don't you? Whatever aspect of life is natural that. So that would probably be my main one, because you'll forever be saying, well, I'm not doing this or they're doing that. And it's, just go with your gut, trust your instincts. Because I think as well, with any job or new job or old job, if you're not feeling it, then you're probably right. And kind of someone once said to me that you make your own luck. And I never really understood that. And I think it's more to do with when others say, oh, she's really lucky, she's doing really well, she's really lucky. But actually, you don't get lucky, you create it. So that's all to do with your mindset, how you get up, how you face your day. If you get up and you feel down in the dumps, then your whole day is going to go like that, isn't it, really? So try and stay positive. Like I say, don't compare myself too much. And go with that gut feeling. If something's not quite right, or if you were going to a job every day and not particularly enjoying it, or there was such, that like icky feeling, perhaps that, definitely means something. So listen to that.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that really does come across when you're talking is how much you do enjoy what you do, how much you love what you do. And I think that's exactly what you said there. If you're doing something that you don't love, we spend a huge amount of our waking hours doing whatever work it is we do. And if you're going out to a job and you're not enjoying it, or it's not fulfilling you in whatever way you want to do, or you're dreaming about having some other, career or some other job, I mean, sometimes you have to just take the leap and do it, don't you? However frightening it is. It's always going to be frightening. It's always going to be scary. But
there's things I'm doing now that I would never have dreamt I'd be doing a year, 2 years ago. I feel like you have to trust the process as well. You know how like sometimes in life something doesn't work out and you're really gutted at the time and you can't get your head around it, and then actually something better comes together. And it's, I think with stuff like that, I've always just thought, just trust the process. If let's say we're in a school running an after school club, that doesn't work out. Like some of our schools we haven't been able to go back to since COVID. But new things have come up. So, you have to kind of just roll with it, don't you, sometimes? And maybe have too many expectations. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of wait and see how things pan out, because 9 times out of 10, from my experience, they work out for the best.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that one as well. Things do generally work out. I notice it with finance. It's always when you kind of think, oh gosh, the bank balance is getting a bit low and I've got bills due to come out, and someone pays you, and something that you're expecting, it always just seems to work out as long as you have the right mindset around it.
You've got to manifest these things, haven't you? And I'm like a real believer in that. I love the book The Secret. The money, the power, that's like my go-to. And I've always believed in that, the dream, believe, achieve effect. Because if you want something enough, you can make it work, you can make it happen. And like you say with the finance thing, I completely agree. Whereas if you spent all day kind of, oh God, I've got no money, I don't know what I'm going to do, and have that mindset, totally that. You're not going to bring it to you, are you? So
exactly. The words we use are so powerful, and if we use negative words and no's and not going to happens and those kind of things all the time, it won't. I think it was, I can't remember who it was who said the quote. I think, was it Henry Ford maybe? If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right either way. Because you will go where, if you really want something, like you say, you will go out and you will get it and you will achieve it and you will do what you need to do to make it happen. The manifesting thing, I really struggled with manifesting to start with, because I thought you can't just put it out there and then it just happens. But no, it doesn't. You put it out there and then that makes you make it happen, which for me is so significant. It's such a massive learning for me over the last few years to realize that you can make anything happen if you try hard enough and if you really want it.
And I think that's where it comes back to that thing I said about luck. You're young and you're growing up and you're just like, oh, she got some new shoes, she's lucky, or he got this, he's lucky. It's not that at all, and as an adult I realized that, and how you can kind of make that work in business as well, if that makes sense.
It totally does. You make your own luck and you earn enough money to go out and buy those shoes. It's that simple. So absolutely,
that's it. And I think that's what always, like, financial independence has always been a massive thing for me, because I don't want to rely on someone else to buy me the things I want or need, you know. So again, that's a good motivational tool as well. You know, and just being able to provide a great life for my kids, and you know, it's it goes without saying, doesn't it, really, without spoiling them, within moderation. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Fantastic, thank you. And you mentioned a couple of books there that you really enjoy, or that you always have as your go-to books. Can you tell us a little bit more about them?
Yeah, of course. So someone I knew years and years ago, probably like maybe 15, 16 years ago, introduced me to a book called The Secret, which, as we've just said, is all about sort of manifesting things, the dream, believe, achieve effect, etc. And in that series, there's a few different books. So there's The Secret, Power, The Money. And those books have literally changed my life. They've changed the way I look at situations, even down to things like when I was pregnant with my daughter. My first childbirth was a bit of a rough ride, and then when I had my daughter, I read The Power, because I used to wake up at silly o'clock, you know, as you do when you're pregnant, and it like helped me through my labour. I can't really explain it. It just changed my mindset, and in turn, I then had a really lovely, easy labour with my daughter, which you could say is a complete coincidence, but it really helped me. And I don't read those books as much anymore, but I always refer back to them. So say a problem arises, or I want something, or I want to go for something new, I tend to always have a little look at those books, and I keep them by my bedside. So when I'm asleep at night, they're there kind of looking over me, which might sound really bizarre to some people, but it's just something that kind of works for me. And it's just been a great tool in business, you know, in relationships, in all different aspects of my life. But they're my kind of go-to, my little Bibles. And yeah, I just like their sort of daily quotes and things like that as well. I just find they really help, and they can help pull you out of a bit of a dark place if you need it. So yeah, it's good.
Fabulous. The Secret I've read. I didn't realise there was more books in the series, so I'm going to have to go and check those ones out. Are they all by the same author?
They are, and it's a very similar pattern of like how the books are written. But the one about the money is obviously all about drawing money into your life. And the one about the power, which is the one I used with the whole childbirth thing, is just sort of like overcoming fears and really helping with like your mindset and what you're capable of doing. So yeah, they're great.
And do you know the name of the author? Is it Rona someone? Rona,
that's correct. Yeah, I haven't got the
surname.
Oh, sorry, I should have had it.
That's all right. I'm going to put the details in the show notes. I've got it on my Audible somewhere, so I will go and put the note.
You can get them in like audio form. I believe there's a film as well, but I've always just enjoyed, you know, having a little look through the books, because you can just kind of pick them up where you want to as well. I do this random thing where I just open the book, and whatever page it happens to open on will be like my thing for that particular day or that particular.
Fantastic. What a good idea.
Yeah, it's really random. But
it's a really good way of just boosting your mindset, I suppose, isn't it?
Exactly that, yeah. And I'm the same kind of, like, if I want something new, I do that with the book and read that particular page. It's really works for me.
Fantastic. And do you have a particular tool as well that you use within your business? Any apps, any programs, any tools, anything that for you would recommend to another business owner?
I'm quite old school the way I do things. You know, Instagram has been an amazing platform, particularly for sleepyheads. Obviously, also visual, and it's all about the getting the right photograph and showcasing what you do. So that's been amazing. You know, building your brand, for me, that's so important, and how something looks. With regard to a tool, not necessarily, because as I say, I'm quite old school. You know, people tend to sort of message me if they want to book in with me personally. I like the whole experience to be quite a personal one, as opposed to going on a website and booking this. And do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I can't have much help there, but
no, Instagram in itself, it's a fantastic tool, isn't it? So.
Been yeah, it's been phenomenal. I'm kind of I've got someone helping me out with my socials at the moment. What she does is she boosts your followers. She makes the brand a little bit more appealing. And I've only been with her for 3 weeks, but I'm learning so much. But again, that's just all part of building the business, building the brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned some bits in your other podcast about, you know, people have got to believe it, they've got to fall in love with it, they've got to understand it all. So you know, I'm sort of constantly posting on the Instagram page, but I actually really enjoy that. That's all part of my daily routine. It's all part of my work now, which I love. I know you can get people to run your socials and stuff, but if it's your forte, it's quite nice, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And I mean, as you know, I'm a virtual assistant, so a lot of what I do for my clients is posting on their socials. And it's really interesting because with different clients, some people really like to do the visual stuff, so they'll do all the visuals and we'll do the words to go with it. And then there are other people who are like me, the other way around. I'm not visual at all in the slightest, but I love words, so I like to write my content. And then I've got a lady who creates my visuals for me, because I just can't do that stuff, that side of things. And then we've got other clients who like to do both of those bits, and then they just give it to us to schedule. And other clients who would never let go of any of that, because, you know, that's their stuff. That's the stuff they really love to do. If it's something you love, if it's a part of your business that you love, then doing it yourself is probably going to have better results than getting somebody else to do it for you. So
get the photos of all the content. It's like, it's so exciting, because you're like, oh, can't wait to post it, can't wait to share it. And the more you post, in turn, the more orders you get. So it's, you know, it's a win-win really. So yeah, it's good, really good.
Absolutely, fantastic. And in terms of taking the photographs for your Instagram, do you take all your own photos?
I do, yeah. So I just on my phone, on my iPhone, I'm upgraded, so I've got like the newest model, so I can get so I'm learning like every day little like lighting tricks, and I've got a few different apps on my phone that I use to use different filters and, you know, get the right kind of vibe with stuff. But if I'm honest, again, that's something that's always interested me. I've always liked that sort of thing. So, you know, I'm getting to do it all the time, and I make little reels or like little TikTok videos of some of the work, which is good. Again, learning every day, and then obviously you can put the music over it and stuff, which is really appealing, because as I say, Instagram's all video, and a lot of people use it. So
absolutely,
yeah, it's nice. And also I follow lots of other people that do the same sort of thing, which is great for inspiration as well. And everybody's really helpful. You know, you can message another supplier and say, loved that, how did you do this, and they'll always come back and give advice and help you, which is so nice and quite unheard of, I think, actually. So yeah, it's a great community.
Fantastic, thank you so much. Wow, you've given us loads of gems today, Kerry. Thank you so much. Could you
sorry, I've gone off on lots of different paths with different stories and things.
That's exactly what a conversation is all about. That's what we do. So that's exactly where people get their inspiration from as well, isn't it? Hearing your story and hearing, you know, how everyone ends up where they are, and the different routes that we've all taken. It's really inspiring for people to hear all of those tangents that we take. So thank you. Can you, before we finish, give us a little update on where we can find you, how people can get in contact with you or follow you or see what you do?
Yeah. Of course, no problem. So on the socials, both Instagram and Facebook, Sleepyheads is literally at Sleepyheads. And the TSOD page, so the dance school page, we mainly use our Facebook for the dance school. You can find us at TSOD, and we also have a website for the dance school, which is tanyaschoolofdance.co.uk. And all of those socials, you'll be able to find my contact details, so people tend to just kind of message me or give me a buzz. But yeah, that's kind of what we do and how it works, really.
Perfect. Well, I'll make sure all of those links are in the show notes as well. So if anybody does want to find you, they can just go along to the show notes page and click on the links and see what you do and see where you are. Thank you so much for joining us today and for your gems of wisdom.
No, thanks for having me, Kate. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you soon.
Absolutely. It's been lovely to chat to you. Thank you, Kerry. Take care.
Bye.
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 Thank you for joining us here at Business Foundations for Mums. Come and join the Business Planning Challenge for Mums to create a plan to drive your business ideas forward. The challenge starts on Monday, the 21st of March in a private Facebook group. Find the link to join in the show notes. You can find all of our episodes, show notes, and blog posts at businessfoundationsformums.co.uk, and you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook.